It looks like they kind of reached out with the intention to touch, and it was more of a distance 5.
Yes, indeed. But what I was saying, when you guys kind of when two opponents kind of neutralize each other, then there's room for, you know, another option, and that's where, let's say, if we're both going to strike, like they are, they might just end up striking.
John Nguyen landed a big left that sent Lucas Neufeld back, and his cheek on his face is red from the impact.
Nice kick by Lucas. He needs to keep his hands up more. I like what he's doing in regards to the head movement, but he needs to not put his head back as much. There you go, he's getting caught with it. If you're in the place where your opponent's gonna love the kick, but when you're in the place where your opponent's about to punch, it's gonna hit you.
Yeah, you can see Neufeld now trying to close the distance on Nguyen. But Nguyen, a very adept counter-puncher.
Yes, I love his calm, collective movement and his striking ability. He needs to check those kicks now. Lucas is getting a piece of him every single time, and especially with a championship bout, in the later rounds, that could really add up. And Lucas going for the kill.
It does add up, too, when you see, a spinning kick to the midsection that lands. And John Nguyen, you can see when his punches are landing, you can see Lucas's head go back.
Yes.
And as a boxing fan from way back, I know that that's what scores the points with the judge. When you see the head move back, that's how they know the punch was effective and landed. Again, no kicks to the head under advanced amateur rules here. There is strikes to the head of a downed opponent, though, which is different from the old amateur rules here in Calgary.
Love the catch. He needs to capitalize on it more. There you have a knee. Almost a sweep by Lucas, but not. He needs to give him more looks. It's not about the first shot. It's about the reshoot. It's about the next shot. It's the next punch. And there you have both gentlemen against the cage. This is where Lucas needs to start getting out. There he does. But he needs to stay strong, stay athletic, and stay in this fight.
The crowd chanting Neufeld's name as John Nguyen has him up against the cage. And so far, so good for John Nguyen in his second attempt here to win the featherweight belt here in Calgary. He's been landing the better of the strikes. He hasn't had the kicks, but he certainly had the punches here early on Lucas Neufeld, and there's another one.
He's getting a little piece of Lucas. Lucas, I love the tenacity, but he needs to be more calm and collective. The kicks are working, but I need him to start throwing the jabs out there. He's getting caught. When you throw a kick without a punch, you're gonna get hit.
John Nguyen ducks under one and answers with a right. Lucas Neufeld has been aggressive with his striking, but John Nguyen's has been more tactical and more accurate. Here we go for the second of 5 possible rounds between John Nguyen and Lucas Neufeld.
I think the real difference in the two, although they're both amateur, I think in many ways John Nguyen is showing how he could potentially be a pro soon. I think in many ways Lucas Neufeld is very much showing he's still very rough, a lot of potential, but in many ways he's very passionate and very aggressive, but falling into places and taking shots he shouldn't. I think the difference is one fighter is very much an amateur, the other one could be a pro very soon.
Stepping through with another spinning kick was John Nguyen, and it caused him to fall down. The kick didn't land where he wanted it to, as Lucas Neufeld was coming forward, and he got him with his thigh instead of with his heel, and as a result, he falls down, Neufeld on top.
Yes, and this is where John Nguyen's gonna have to try and get some space. Obviously the fall wasn't of, like, let's say a knockdown or anything like that, but you can't let yourself be smothered like this and lose a round because of a simple mistake. And there you go, he's gonna try and go for a submission attempt. The attacks I like, but also I wanna see scrambles, I wanna see space, because if you don't have your hips like he is, then your opponent's just gonna stack you and it's not gonna get you anywhere like we just saw.
So in a submission attempt from John Nguyen from the bottom, and now trying to roll over another one, looking for that arm bar. He's got that arm stretched out. Neufeld rolls through it and survives and is on top, and here's an appreciative roar from the crowd.
Yes, and I'm starting to take back that whole potential pro versus am. Lucas in many ways is showing his own grit, his own ferociousness, and technicality. He did not tap. He found a way out, and he found a path of least resistance, and now he's on top. So again, both fighters are showing potential of being professionals very soon in this championship amateur fight.
Yeah, you can see the welts from both fighters, especially on the legs of John Nguyen from here. The welts from the leg kicks of Lucas Neufeld, who's just trying to stop his opponent's breathing. He's taking a bit of a breather now here, and you can see that, again, still staying busy looking for that submission from the bottom is John Nguyen. But if you're gonna spend the better half of a round on your back, you're not gonna win the round. No matter how many sub attempts you throw out, the judges are gonna look at position over submission.
Yes, and very much the case. And again, it's not necessarily the most eventful version of between the two differences in regards to rounds, rather. But a win in a round is a win in the round. And if you're going the best of 5, every round counts. And John Nguyen needs to get up and needs to get space, but he won't in the finish of this round.
Final seconds now. Lucas Neufeld shows in round number 2 that this is going to be more of a fight. Welcome and enjoy what is left of this amateur title fight. A kick met with a stiff right hand from John Nguyen.
That's exactly right. And again, we need to see Lucas throwing different types of head movement, but not, I love the kick. I'm not gonna say anything wrong about the kick, but I need him to start throwing jabs in front of it. Not lunging forward and trying to throw your weight at someone. You need to place your weight. You need to place your punches. All your power comes from your hips. And if your hands are down low and you're throwing a kick, you're gonna get caught.
Well, the damage on the leg of John Nguyen is already apparent. You can see him starting to check, well, not even check the kick, but a half check of the kick. And that time you could see him get right out of the way, and another kick thrown, answered with a right hand. It seems that that's the way this round has gone so far. It's a kick and a right hand. Both guys throwing what they've landed best through the fight so far.
Yes, very much so. And I love the poise of John Nguyen. He's watching, he's taking very calculated options, and yes, love the jumping off the kick. Who doesn't love the Showtime Pettis attempt? And again, that's the beauty of the raw talent you're seeing in these amateur title contenders. These both guys are hungry, young, and looking to be victorious.
Again, now the striking of Nguyen is showing here in round number 3.
But the difference in regards to, sorry to cut you off there, the difference in regards to the face of Lucas Neufeld, who in many ways is showing that he might be getting a piece of that leg, but John Nguyen is getting all of his face.
Yeah, Lucas Neufeld his punches are starting to swing a lot slower, and that was a huge right hand from John Nguyen. Neufeld swinging away on his way back away from the cage, but that one stopped Neufeld in his tracks.
Yes, and he's trying in many ways to, trying to regain himself. There's the kick, but again, if you don't throw the punches, you're gonna get caught. I love Lucas's tenacity, his heart, his pushing forward, but John Nguyen is chipping away, taking away everything in this third round.
Yeah, John Nguyen has definitely gotten the better of the striking here in round number 3.
Just right down the pipe. In many ways, Lucas needs to keep his hands up. It's when you're starting to get picked away, you gotta emphasize the defense. We say defense don't win you fights, but no defense definitely loses one.
Yeah, that right hand is getting through again, and Lucas Neufeld's face is certainly showing the effects of the striking here from John Nguyen. I mean, I'm pretty sure Nguyen, if you asked him, would trade Lucas's face for his thigh.
John Nguyen, in many ways, is starting to put a little bit of that power, a little bit of that oomph into every single, not every single punch, but every single combination. There's at least one that's getting through there and hurting Lucas. Lucas needs to not leap forward in regards to a takedown like that. You could see it a mile away.
Yeah, right now the takedown was a little bit telegraphed. John Nguyen able to defend. Again, obviously learning his lessons after his title fight with Justin Basra. Again, both of these men have had title fights before. Nguyen here in the Hard Knocks cage and Neufeld elsewhere. Neither one of them successful at the end of their maiden voyage into a championship fight. But right now, John Nguyen has been picking Lucas Neufeld apart, and again, another telegraph takedown.
Yes, and that's gonna be demoralizing. Think if you try something so hard with all your might, and someone just says no, and again, and this time he goes for the chin pick, and he's actually gonna punish him for it. He might, again, stand it up, keep the distance, and there you got the plum, the clinch, and just the barrage that John Nguyen has been able to put on the later two of these rounds.
And Lucas Neufeld diving again for the legs. Desperation setting in for these takedowns because the strikes aren't even coming with any efficiency, and that right hand from John Nguyen just keeps getting through.
Now with his own kicks, see, this is what happens when you are putting different looks on someone. Lucas in many ways is thinking about the punch, but that leaves the opportunity for kicks. A lovely teep, a lovely teep. John Nguyen needs to be very careful when he jumps and leaps for that. One most definitely looks back to Arlovsky versus Fedor for something like that. And then you see Lucas crumbling with the takedown. There's almost not necessarily giving up in regards to his heart. He has heart, he's still in there. But there's a giving up in the body. The body just can't push forward, especially when you have someone punching, kicking right at you.
Yeah, at this point, it's a mind over matter that Lucas Neufeld is still standing, really, at this point, because he has been picked apart by John Nguyen, but his body just keeps on coming forward. Lucas Neufeld has taken a lot of damage here, but now landing a couple nice punches of his own. Neufeld now up against the cage. He's throwing away. He's going at John Nguyen, who might be in trouble here with just 30 seconds left in round number 4. Lucas Neufeld trying to get a win and goes for the takedown.
Lovely takedown, lovely timing. That was grueling as heck. He should have kept it, in my opinion, there. But again, being on top, finishing like that is something safe. But is it enough to win the round? That's the real issue. If John Nguyen gets up in this last little bit, it could have been for nothing. But here you have Lucas just attacking and swarming. We have John Nguyen trying to get space and survive this round.
Short time left here, just seconds remain, and that will be the end of round 4.
Right away, a kick by Lucas establishes it, but Nguyen is getting with the punches. That's what he needs to avoid. Talking about Lucas here at the moment. He can't just throw a punch, he can't just throw a kick and expect not to get hit in the face, because it's happened this whole fight.
We've gotten to the 5th round, and now it's Rocky punches. Every punch that lands sees the sweat halo come off of Neufeld. And John Nguyen continuing to get those strikes through the defenses of Lucas Neufeld. Now they exchange kicks.
Yes, and again, that ill-advised a takedown attempt from Lucas will cost him. You see, he's putting his umphs in every single punch, but that will put you in the wrong place sometimes and allows someone like John Nguyen, who's been poised this whole fight, catch a leg, punch you in the face, and go for a finish.
Nice combination there from Nguyen up against the cage. A nice 1-2. And again, a nice left from Neufeld, and now a rocking right. That right hand has gotten through in all 5 rounds.
Baby blue eyes, Lucas in many ways is bleeding from the eyes. He needs to not watch John Nguyen here. This is where someone could take it off. Great takedown attempt, but it needs the reshoot. He needs the next angle, like you see. Here's where, there you go. That's what he needs to do. It's not the first shot, it's the second. It's the third. It's not the first punch, it's the second and the third. And that's why something like a kick has been very successful, but there's no follow-up. There's no entry before him. John Nguyen standing up easily, and Lucas playing backpack at this point.
And another nice drag takedown from the back of Lucas Neufeld as he looks to finish this fight and get a win against John Nguyen. Nguyen has had the better of this fight for most of it, but Lucas Neufeld looking to sink in the choke. He might have it here as John Nguyen gets to the 5th round in his second attempt to win the Hard Knocks featherweight title. And there it is. That choke is in. It's not quite on the chin. Neufeld using it to posture into the mount. And with 45 seconds to go, Neufeld is going to look to do some damage from the top. Put the emphasis on it.
John Nguyen needs to scramble. He needs to not let him just put on the hooks, not let him put on the chokes. He needs to want this. At this point, you've done so much to win this, potentially win this fight. You can't just give it up in a second like that. You have less than 30 seconds. You gotta move, buddy.
And it is under his neck. You can see John Nguyen struggling with this choke. Lucas Neufeld giving it everything he had and pops out. Neufeld will end this fight on top. 10 seconds to go. They are continuing to give it everything they have, looking again for the guillotine choke. Short time left. This fight is over, and I've got no idea who is the next Hard Knocks champion.